Hello and welcome to a Patreon Q&A, a very late Patreon Q&A. I apologize for that, that's entirely my bad. I've sort of been neglecting the Patreon wrongfully lately, and I will post an update video on there very soon that will sort of explain everything that's been going on and what the future of the Patreon is and what the future of the channel is and all that. But for now, here's a Patreon Q&A that is very late. These videos, I answer my patrons' questions, but I post the videos publicly. And if you don't want to become a patron, but you do want to ask a question, feel free to ask the question in the comments of this video, and I'll try my best to answer it down there. First question is from Sam Liss. You talk a lot about video games based on movies. Do you have a favorite movie based on a video game? Typically they're always really bad, but Mortal Kombat earlier this year was fun. Sonic was also fun a couple of years ago, or last year, or whenever that was. I always think that Hitman 2007 with Timothy Oliphant is kind of underrated. I think that's a pretty decent little movie. Obviously it has a lot of issues and Timothy is slightly miscast, but still, cool movie, I think, a bit of fun. Boggy Online asks, how have you been? Complicated question to answer. I don't like talking about sort of my mental state on the channel because it sort of creates weird parasocial relationship stuff, but obviously the last couple of years have been stressful, like really stressful. Recently, Sydney went into like I think it was longer than 3-month lockdown, a pretty strict lockdown, which contributed to why I haven't been uploading as much because, or even posting on the Patreon as much, because that 3 months recently was pretty stressful and I sort of had to just focus on myself for that period. But now that the lockdown's ended, I am feeling better. Thank you for asking. And I think now's time to sort of play catch up on all this Patreon stuff and videos I've been meaning to finish, and sort of spend the rest of this year doing that, just finishing off everything that I needed to up until now. Anthony Valiant asks, will the graphically impressive series make a comeback? Maybe. The reason I stopped doing those is because I found them very simplistic to make and not very challenging to make. But for the last year or so, I have been toying with doing a J2ME 5 graphically impressive video as a bit of a throwback, but also there's some stuff on Java phones that I think is really impressive and worth showing off. Anthony Valiant also asks, what's a game or system do you want to review but is currently cost prohibited? I would love to review arcade machines, funnily enough. I don't know if there's an audience for it. I don't know if I would be very successful if I just went into reviewing arcade machines, but a lot of arcade machines are really, really interesting, and they have really sort of interesting, cabinet art and control input and crazy stuff. So maybe I can find like an arcade collector in Sydney and team up with them or something. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Ritalin for kids. Here we go. Hey minimme, long-time viewer, first-time asker. I got a couple of questions, if you do not mind, and I hope all is well and that you can answer as much as you can. Okay, quick fire round. Do you think Skate 4 will be announced in the future? No. What would your dream video game soundtrack be? I'm gonna say 2000s emo music, bit of The Getaway Plan, Taking Back Sunday, all that good stuff. What's your highest combo in Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD? I didn't want to be reminded of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD. What are your plans for after high school? If you asked me when I was in high school, I would have said, I don't know, university, I guess. Which I ended up doing, so, my plans were always to become a YouTuber, obviously. Do you think love is real or a fantasy for people to escape the reality that they'll die alone? Can't think of a sassy answer, so I'm going to say, no, I think love is real. If opposites attract, why do my parents hate each other? 2x plus 5x squared minus 7 equals 17. That's a quadratic. I remember quadratics. Did you realize that everyone you know will someday die? Come on, man. What do you think your subscriber count will be when you retire? What's the capital of the former German state Prussia? When does the narwhal bacon XD? I ain't answering any of these. Favorite movie? At the moment, it's Miami Vice 2006. I just find it endlessly rewatchable and interesting and shot in a really fun way. Back to normal questions. Mark Del Vecchio asks, any licensed properties you think would make a good video game, or any property that already has a video game but deserves another shot? Not so much a licensed property, but I really think that like those typical Jason Statham movies or Liam Neeson movies could have a video game version starring Jason Statham or Liam Neeson. Someone needs to take this to a big publisher, tell them to approach Jason Statham, grab one of those random screenplays they just pull out of dumpsters where he just like punches people for 2 hours, and turn that into a video game. I think that'd be cool. As for a game that deserves another shot, I reckon John Wick. John Wick Hex, I actually thought was really quite bland, and they could have done that way better. I'd like to see Lord of the Rings come back in maybe like an RPG. I didn't really find the Nemesis system games to be very interesting, so I think they could do a lot more with Lord of the Rings that hasn't been done, even though there's been plenty of Lord of the Rings games. And they could do more with Fast and Furious, which I know is a bit of a meme, but those movies are kind of video game-esque as it is, and it'd be cool to see them be actual good video games, even if they've had some okay ones in the past. What is the video you are most proud of making? From that guy in your cereal. Probably the AFL one, because those games mean a lot to me, and showing off of the Australian games industry and history is important to me. But I also really like the Just Cause 2 mobile video, because that was a bit of sort of actual journalism, I suppose. Same with the upcoming Mafia video, and also I like the Skittles video a lot. I think that video just came together really well, has a good tone. Robin Broberg asks, I've been trying to come up with a good question for about 30 minutes, so what's a good question? You could ask me my opinion on Michael Mann movies, and I would probably talk about them so much it would like triple the length of this video. Robbie Grieg, one of the many things I admire about your videos is the music. I even have a minimme playlist on YouTube filled with all the songs you credit at the end of your videos. My question is, what is the thought process behind the music choice? How do you choose the songs that go into your videos, Lakey inspired, etc.? Also, which song from your many videos is your favorite? This is a funny comment to get, because I get a lot of mixed feedback on my music. Some people think it's cheap and tacky to put just like, you know, lo-fi beats in the background because it's a generic YouTuber thing to do. And but I'm confident enough in myself to I'm confident enough in myself to prefer to keep the music in. I think it sets a nice tone. It sort of makes my videos feel relaxed. As for how I found the music, I listened to a lot of lo-fi music during university, and I kind of listened to it a lot while studying, and I got a feel for some of the artists and some of the songs, and then I'd often sort of just sprawl YouTube and sort of find random tracks that are free to use, royalty free, and I'd put them underneath my voice. So I'd just play like a random voice clip of me speaking, and I'd just put the YouTube video on low volume and hit play. And if I felt that they gelled, then I would often pick that song. And my favorites are by far the Lucrembo ones I use. Like I really like Onion by Lucrembo. Lewis Dalton asks, hey, Mr. Pete MME, holding the ball here, long-time listener, first-time joke stealer. What's your favorite video game OST? If it's licensed, any of the first 6 Tony Hawk games. If it's unlicensed, then I'm not as sure. I like Pokemon. Pokemon Ruby has a lot of like nostalgic, sentimental value to me. I played Final Fantasy 15 recently, and I really liked that. But that's a tough question to answer. What game did you look forward to the most, but it let you down? I really looked forward to Hitman Absolution, and that was a letdown, and Saints Row 3 to a point. But nowadays I like both of those games way more than I did when they came out. So, maybe they weren't letdowns in the end. Is the admin channel on the Discord? Is the admin channel on the Discord actually have the real Vin Diesel in it, or is that a myth created by Ritalin? Vin Diesel's in there, but he goes to a different school, so you wouldn't know him, man. Thank you for your time, Mr. MME, as you were. Cannondorf asks, hey yo, first question in a Q&A, so this is neat but not sure what to ask. Aside from recent games for reviews, have you played anything recently that you've enjoyed or think is worth checking out? Always looking for more things to play and always interested to hear opinions on things. This year I enjoyed Outriders quite a lot, which is kind of maybe controversial to say because a lot of people just seem to really hate that game because they expect it to be way better or way bigger than what it is. But I really enjoyed it as this sort of strange throwback to bad God of War clones. It's like a throwback to like Army of Two and Dark Void and Fracture and Inversion and all those weird Xbox 360, PS3, third-person God of War ripoffs. It reminds me a lot of those in the best way possible, because you could say that as an insult, but this is cheesy and corny and budgety in ways that those games were. Well, not budgety, but it's also... It revels in it, and I really like that. And I find the combat to be a lot of fun. I find sort of the abilities to be a lot of fun, and there's some balancing issues, and the end game isn't great. But as far as a 30-hour co-op game, I found it really enjoyable, and I would recommend playing it in co-op. But if you can, Outriders is good. I also recently really loved Final Fantasy 15, and I've been pretty vocal about that on Twitter. It's my favorite Final Fantasy game, and I find it extremely compelling in a lot of different ways. How it sort of tells a story without giving you all the information. It's sort of always from the main character's perspective, and how it builds relationships with the other characters, and it feels very immersive. It does a lot of sort of interesting immersion tricks with driving the car around and having to refuel it and having to camp every night, and all of that stuff just draws you into this strange little offbeat game. And yeah, I really loved it. But otherwise, yeah, I don't know. Recently, I liked Need for Speed Heat a lot. I like Formula One games a lot. I think they're some of the most interesting sort of single player racing games that have a lot of management aspects that I think, even if you're not into Formula One, you would find them really compelling even if you don't like even if you don't like Formula One. I don't know, I've lost myself, but basically Formula One games are so good they got me into Formula One. And yeah, video games are fun. Jam asks, when you review a game, do you tend to buy them? And do you collect video games at all? Do you think your reviews of obscure games might have had an impact on their demand? For example, eBay, and in turn their prices. I've definitely bought a few off the back of your reviews. Yeah, they absolutely have gone up in price after I've reviewed them, and I don't really like that fact. It's powerful. It builds my ego when I release a video and see a game like The Godfather or Cars go up in price. There's a certain part of me that's like, ooh, look at me, I'm an influencer. Gee, that's a cringy thing to say. But no, I don't like the game collecting industry and how it's all sort of turned into this crazy price hiked thing at the moment, and I don't like that I'm contributing to that. And yeah, I try to buy the games I review pretty much every time, unless they're extremely expensive. In that case, I'll probably just pirate them because, like, who's losing when I do that anyway? They're an old game. And I used to collect games a lot when I was living at home with my parents as a teenager, because we lived in a house and I could afford to just dump all those games in a cupboard. But nowadays I'm in a small Sydney apartment and I can't really afford to own a whole bunch of games, so it's a lot less of a thing now, but I still try and buy things that I really like. Yeah, good question. Thank you. Ruth Knappman, thank you for all the wonderful, insightful content you've provided in the year and a bit I've been watching you now. It's probably getting a year and a half now. But was wondering if you had any ideas for videos or anything in the works that's on more of a long form scale like the AFL video last year. Yeah, I am doing that. I'm actually working on one right now. The next video that'll come out after the Mafia video is probably going to be longer than the AFL video and cover more games than the AFL video did. But it's a similar sort of sequentially going through a big series of games and basically reviewing them all. So yeah, I as part of like what I want to do with the channel moving forward, I want to make more videos like that AFL video. And also, who are some of your favorite Aussie/Kiwi YouTubers? I like Colorshed, Square Eyed Jack, and Game Brain. They're all sort of they've all sort of become friends of mine through YouTube, sort of internet friends of mine. They're all lovely people, and they're all fantastic YouTubers. So go check them out. Antonio Phillips asks, could you give any personal insight into YouTube collaborations? Any experiences with them or stories you want to share? Speaking of, any dream collabs? And then Tesla Chad says he did one with me, and I did. And there's a Bloodstone video I did with Tesla Chad that you can look up and check out, where we sort of go through the story on a closer with a closer examination than I did when I covered Bloodstone. But as far as collabs go, you kind of got to be on the same page as the person you're collaborating with, and you've got to. At least this is my opinion. I think that a lot of collabs on YouTube don't actually enhance the video in any meaningful way. It's important to bring someone on if they have something to say about whatever you're covering, because in that case, then they bring something to the table, and if they don't, it can feel a bit empty. And I've done collabs in the past that have felt that way. And I like okay, so I did one with Game Brain years ago, probably 2017, 2016, when both of us were sort of finding our footing on YouTube, and it was a weird experience, really. We were just excited to throw it together. We talked about games we got for Christmas in the past or something. And it came together. It was a video. It was fine. We basically just found an excuse to talk about some games we played as a kid. But the video itself just felt very like, what was the point of this? Why did we bother collabing? What's the goal of this video? That just felt all a bit meaningless. And since then, Game Brain and I, his name's Donal, we've talked about it. We've been like, we've acknowledged that we were both sort of not really cognizant of these issues that can come with collabs, or how early we were in our YouTube careers. I hate saying careers, but yeah. So he's since taken the video down, and I would have done the same, because it's just an awkward, weird video. You know, we were finding our feet. We did a collab. The whole experience was a bit odd, but since then, you know, I made a good friend out of it over the internet, so cool. It's a win. Hazardous Kirby asks, do you plan on continuing the Driver series retrospective? The Driver 1 and 2 videos were what really got me into your channel. Yes, I do, and I will continue with Driver 3, even though I've reviewed it in the past. I think it was so long ago. It was back in 2015 when I was a teenager, that I think that recovering it now with all I've learned in a more in-depth style is a good idea, so I'm going to do that. Tesla Chad, rumor on the streets is you have a bromance going on with Tesla Chad. Can you confirm this? I've been found out. Pewix, are you happy with the current state of your content? Are you interested in experimenting with new content or improving your current style in any way? The short answer is no, I'm not happy with the current state of my content, which is maybe I'm my own worst critic sort of thing. I'm not like upset about my videos. I think they're decent videos, but I do feel like I'm at a bit of a crossroads where I need to evolve and experiment and put myself in uncomfortable sort of situations to feel more proud of the videos I'm making. And I'm really proud of the Just Cause 2 video I recently did, where I interviewed Thomas Nielsen, the basically the head lead on that game. And I'm really proud of the Mafia Titanic mod video, which was in the similar vein. and I want to do more videos like that in the future. And I also want to do more videos like the AFL video, which are sort of long form coverings of big sort of concepts or series or anything in gaming. Those are the directions I hope to improve my current style. But it's sort of like, the thing with YouTube, it's sort of like steering a big heavy ship. You know, you got to do it slowly and gradually. And the way I stopped doing 5 graphically impressive videos was just by slowly phasing them out and slowly phasing in my current style of videos at the time. And that's not an easy thing to do, and that brings a lot of self-doubt, I think. And part of it is, while experimenting, people won't necessarily like what I'm going to do next. And that's sort of a hard thing to grapple with. And if you remember when I was sort of experimenting last time, I did some weird videos. Like I did one where I compared GoldenEye 007 to the movie that didn't do super well. And I did another one where I talked about the PlayStation Mini and the games on it, which was way outside of my sort of usual style of video. But it's these things that I feel like I have to do to find a way forwards. I have to experiment more. Even if it doesn't land, that's okay. I just got to remind myself, I'll get there. I'll find a new way to make stuff. But that's not to say that I won't entirely get rid of my current style of video, because I do still enjoy what I'm doing. I just do feel like I need to do more to move forwards, I suppose. Thank you for the question. Trixie Emerson, popping down to the shops, want anything? Dr. Pepper. Get me a Dr. Pepper. They're actually really hard to get in Australia. Well, not really hard, but sort of hard to get in Australia. They never really took off. But I really like Dr. Pepper, so if it's easy for you to get one, get me one. Dominic Chikoki, now that we've hit the goal for Planes, Fire and Rescue, and no doubt the Sims 2 DS video is coming soon, they actually are. I'm going to try and get them in the works by the end of the year. What are your next big goals for the channel? And is any subscriber or dollar goals to unlock whatever's next? Kind of just answered this in the couple of questions ago when I wanted to talk about like ways I want to evolve the channel, but yeah, just adding on to that, I want to evolve the channel in a direction that is sustainable and will grow me further and interests me more and rekindles my enthusiasm for making videos. And finally, CD-ROM Fossil, has a non-horror game ever scared you? I don't think so. If Half-Life counts, then Half-Life, but Half-Life's pretty horror-y at the start. For example, when I was a kid, Star Wars Shadows of the Empire terrified me. It wasn't until I was in my teens that I was able to beat it. No, I don't. I'm sorry to disappoint, but I don't think I have any experiences like that. But thank you for the question, and thank you everyone for the questions, and thank you for subscribing to the Patreon. And sorry this video took so long again, but we will do. I'll post another call for questions for the next one. I will continue making them, hopefully quicker than I made this one. And yeah, take care of yourselves, and goodbye.